Hello, I am D-Man, and today I will be ranking all of the Total Drama Island characters. That is, the characters that appeared on Total Drama Island. Um, and I'm also counting World Tour because where else would Alejandro, Blaney, and Sierra go? They're pretty heavily associated with this cast, so I lumped them in here as well, alongside Chris and Chef. I will be factoring in all the seasons that these characters appeared in, including like the Redonkulous racing stuff for characters like Owen and Jeff. And yeah, I think you get how this works. So let's just get right into it. Starting off with Trent. I like him in Ireland. In action, he's a bit and then doesn't really do a whole lot on World Tour. I don't dislike Trent. I feel like high neutral. High neutral is where I'll go for now, I think. Because he doesn't, even in Ireland, where I like him, but he doesn't do a ton in that season, right? And then, yeah, action's a bit, a bit rough for him, and then, I like him in World Tour. Next we've got Gwen. So Gwen's in a lot of seasons, and I think she's best in Ireland. Um, she's pretty good in action. I like her in action, and I like her in World Tour enough. Despite the whole love triangle stuff, I really, really don't like Gwen in All Stars. It just, it's not good. It's not good. I don't know what it is. It's sometimes she's fine in All Stars, but then it's like anything to do with Courtney, whether it's her trying to apologize to Courtney or once they actually become friends or whatever. It just doesn't. It just feels super off. And anything to do with Duncan in All Stars is also like it's just. It's like I guess it's like Gwen is too mean to Duncan. I think the breakup with Duncan is justified in that season. But before then, it just... Yeah, I don't know. But then, Gwen is overly... I find overly apologetic to Courtney. Which is fair enough. I can sort of understand why, but just like wanting to come back on the show just to apologize to Courtney just feels a bit... Like, really? And it obviously doesn't help that Gwen still tries to justify, like, no. I didn't actually cheat. Duncan didn't actually cheat on Courtney or anything, with me. So that's a bit, But overall, Gwen and Island is a lot of fun. I think she is a great finalist. I do like her. Do I love Gwen? I like Gwen. I don't love Gwen. But I like her. She's cool. Right, next we've got the Duncan, we've got the bad boy here. He's just pretty solid all around, isn't it? Island he's pretty good. I think he's best in Island. I like him in action. World Tour, he's not so bad. Yes, he does cheat on Courtney and that, but I think he does get like a decent amount of karma. I do like it. I do like Cody sort of bring him down a step there. I think that was sort of needed a little bit. And you could sort of understand why Duncan did what he did. Of course, there's all the Harold bullying he does. That's less justified. I get Harold rigged the votes, but Duncan's bullying is pretty relentless. But I don't know. Duncan's always been a very, fun character. I don't even hate him in All Stars. Like, I think he's quite good in All Stars, except for sort of near the end, especially in his elimination. That's not good. But, like, I kind of like Duncan trying to be bad and he just can't. He's not that bad of a guy, even if he wants to be. I'm putting Duncan in the love Um, I just think he's a lot of fun. There's a decent amount. He's got a decent amount of strategy and stuff as well sometimes, which is always good to see. And a sort of a non-villain character having that sort of strategy is always nice. All right, now we've got Courtney. Courtney, yeah, that's a character. I mean, she's real good in Island. I actually quite like her in action, even though it is is a much meaner version of Courtney, but I still quite enjoy it. I don't know why. World Tour, she's okay. She's okay. And then in All Stars, she's also just okay. I don't. I mean, the chart was dumb, but do I have to? Do I have to tell you that? I, yeah. I mean, it's tricky. I'm gonna like I like her more than Gwen. I don't think I like her as much as Duncan. It's just, dear, do I put Courtney in the like or the love? I think I'm putting her in the love, but it's probably going towards the bottom of love. Ooh, DJ. Okay, we got DJ. Okay, good in Ireland. He's cool in Ireland. Probably like him the most in action. I think he's not in it for a long time, but he's in it for a good time. It's quite interesting to have him and Chef try and like cheat and stuff. And then World Tour, he does kind of suck a little. That animal curse thing is dragged on a bit too long, I would say. I like DJ, I suppose. I don't love DJ, but he's cool. He's cool. Justin, okay. I mean, Island doesn't do much of anything really. So, how good is he in action? Well, it's certainly an improvement over Island, I'll tell you that. I mean, I really like Justin in action. I think he has some funny moments. There's a little bit of strategy which I like. I think the only thing that's not super clear in action is like how attractive is he sometimes? Because sometimes it's like the characters aren't attracted to him, and then sometimes they are. I quite like Justin actually. Probably will go in between Gwen and DJ. I think I like Justin more than DJ. I just sort of, yeah, I enjoy his sort of humor in action. All right, Katie and I mean, say you this might as well be a package bunch. They're fine. I mean, I guess they're a little annoying, but I mean, they're they're fine, I suppose. I don't really. Do I like Katie or Sadie more? Katie's eliminated earlier. Sadie. You know what? If Sadie actually did stuff while Katie was gone, I think I would like Sadie more. But I think all Sadie does is like fires too many apples at Courtney or whatever. Then I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't. If Sadie was going to stick around that much longer than Katie, I wish Sadie actually would have done something. Next we've got Ezekiel. Oh, this guy has had a tough time. I'll tell you that. I mean, I mean, Ireland. He's a first boot. He's a good first boot, I would say. World Tour, he's less good as a first boot. Kind of. It might be kind of Duncan, kind of Ezekiel. I mean, yeah. I mean, World Tour Chris is just treating him like crap. But also, it's where you get feral Ezekiel. And feral Ezekiel, it's cool, I suppose. I mean, yes, it would be nice for Ezekiel to be normal again at some point. Probably the 100th episode special, that would have been actually pretty cool if it happened there. Otherwise, I think the only really noteworthy thing is probably the total the island special where he's with Lindsay and Beth. He's actually quite good there. I quite like him there. But overall, I mean, I don't. I mean, it's Ezekiel. There's just not a lot to work with, is there? Eva. Not that good in Ireland, but I like her in Action and World Tour. Whatever, like, little bits of Eva there are, I think she's actually better in Action and in World Tour. Hmm. I don't. Do I dislike Eva? Not. Maybe. Hmm. Hmm. Dislike, bottom of a neutral. We'll need someone into this. Like, we'll have Eva at the very top of dislike. She's just like, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't really jive with me. Now, Noah, I could jive with this guy. Um, Island, he kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie, kind of sucks in Island. Just that dodgeball challenge, he just doesn't do anything, and he's, I got eliminated? What? Why me? I'm smart. It's like, he didn't do the challenge. World Tour, I mean, he's, for what little bit he's in, I mean, he's good. And in the Redonkulous race, he's also pretty good. I like him and Emma. So I'm probably putting him in the. I don't love Noah, but I like Noah more than DJ. I like Noah more than Justin. Do I like Noah more than Gwen? Not quite. I don't think so. I think Gwen just has. I think I just. Oh, maybe. Now Gwen's just in more of the show. Like, yeah, I'll put Noah there. Owen, this dude. I mean, he pops up a lot. I mean, he's in Island, Action, World Tour, Donker's Race. He's a cameo in the rematch season. He's a cameo in Revenge of the Island, a cameo in All Stars. He's everywhere. Fortunately, I like this guy because it'd suck if I didn't. He's just he's actually I just think he's quite likable. Like I mean, the farting is what it is. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not. I think he's a decent winner. Like I'm not saying I like Owen in Ireland. He's just like he's funny without like being too annoying, but there's also just enough like flaws now. Obviously, his appetite. I mean, it ruins the cooking challenge. He eats all the ribs or whatever. Action. I like Owen in Action, but he sort of overstays his welcome. I mean, especially when he returns as the mole. It's like, okay, I get it. You like Owen. We don't need more, So I don't love that. Owen in World 2 is cool. I like Owen in World 2, and I like Owen in the Redonkulous race. I mean, I gotta put Owen in the love tier. It's just, do I like Owen more than Courtney? Yes, actually, I probably do. Do I like Duncan? Do I like Owen more than Duncan? Ooh. Maybe I do, actually. No, I'll leave it there for now. Because there's also, there's the whole stuff with Izzy, which I like. Yeah. I guess the only reason I'm gonna put Owen here is he maybe just gets away with a little too much sometimes. Like, again, the cooking challenge, or oh, I don't know if that's right. It's hard to say. I'll leave him here for now. Izzy, crazy, crazy son of a bitch. She's cool. She's just comedy, not much else. I like. I'm just gonna put her there. Like she returns a lot, but I think she's funny sometimes. Doesn't do a whole lot in any season really, but she's enjoyable enough. Jeff. Okay. We got a lot to talk about with Jeff here. Uh, Island. Jeff's cool. I like the way him and Bridget sort of come together. Action. We get the Captain Hollywood stuff, which definitely the worst Jeff gets, but I kind of see what they're going for. I don't hate Jeff there. World Tour. I mean, I like Jeff and World Tour, and then the Redonkulous race. He's quite chill there. I mean, maybe he's a little dumber in the Redonkulous race, but still Jeff. I like him as a winner with Brody. It's cool how they like sacrifice themselves and then they actually get like a second chance. Their good deed sort of brings them back. So I like Jeff more than Izzy and DJ. Eh, no. I like Jeff more than Justin. I don't like Jeff more than Noah. Bridges, pretty cool actually. In Island, she doesn't do a lot, but she is like nice. She's nice. She's chill. In action, she's quite good in action. Uh, I mean, we kind of have to talk about World Tour though with Alejandra. I mean, that's some. Also, I just remember that yeah, Jeff and Bridget kissed a lot, and that wasn't. I tell you, I forgot that Jeff and Bridget even. I actually totally forgot. They do compete in action. They just get eliminated so early. Their elimination was so forgettable. I almost forgot. Hmm. I'm probably yeah. I'll leave Jeff still where he is. Probably not. Actually, let me put Jeff below Justin. That actually brings it down. Uh, Bridget, I like. It's probably right here. Yeah, that feels about right. I think Jeff just has a little bit more going on. It's true. I think Jeff has more moments that I dislike than with Bridget, but I think I also have more moments with Jeff that I like than with Bridget, if that makes sense. Tyler, okay. Tyler. I mean, Tyler's cool. He gets hurt a lot, but I think World Tour. I mean, World Tour he is decent. For what time he's in. Yeah, I like Tyler. Um, Probably just right there. I'd say he's cool. There's not a ton to his character. I mean, him and Lindsay. I mean, that's always nice. He's a pretty nice boyfriend and all that. And yeah, speaking of Lindsay, here she is. Now, I want you to have a guess at where she goes, considering the channel's name is based off of this character. Yeah, okay, let's just put her at the very top. So, Lindsay is my favorite character in the show. Um, Period. Uh, I think she's just really good in Island and action in particular. I think Lindsay's best season is in action. Lindsay in Island is also just really. I think Lindsay is really funny. I think first of all, I think her sort of dumbness and naivety. It's funny without getting annoying too much. And there's a few moments where it's like, okay, that's a bit. I think Lindsay's cameo in Revenge of the Islands is really good. I think Lindsay in World Tour one little dumber, right? I don't love the whole forgetting Tyler's name stuff, but once she remembers his name, oh, she's good again. Hell yeah, she's good. especially when she starts carrying the whatever's left of Team Victory. And then in All Stars, Lindsay basically just gives up. She's just like, this show's too hard. I'm gonna vote myself off. Yeah, just get out of there, Lindsay. Um, yeah, I mean, she's really solid overall. I mean, in Ireland, she's sort of like the accomplice to the villain, which is kind of interesting because you know Lindsay's ultimately a good person, but still is doing these sort of bad things. In action, she tries to sort of be her sort of on her own, which for a while is very entertaining. Until she votes herself off, and that elimination still bothers me, just a little bit. Uh, yes, I do think Lindsay should have won Total Drama Action. Yes, I'm sure everyone has said that. I'm gonna say it again though. Anyways, let's talk about someone that actually did win Total Drama Action. Take that, Lindsay. It's Beth. Uh, Beth's fine. I just uh, Island. She's all right. I like it. Actually, like it when she does stand up to Heather. That was cool, actually. Maybe Beth's higher than this. Action. I think Beth just sort of doesn't do a whole lot in action. I'm probably actually going to put Beth in like. I'm going to move Beth up to like, but just barely. Not yeah. She just doesn't do a whole lot despite winning the season. Like, it's weird, even though they didn't intend for this. It's kind of weird how the moment Lindsay goes, is so much more relevant, and it's like, it almost like Beth takes Lindsay's plotline. I don't. That's not the intention, I don't think, but that's just how it feels watching it. And then Beth and World Tour is fine. Lashawna, okay, now Lashawna. I like Lashawna. She cool. World Tour is all okay. Action, I like her in action. I like her in Ireland. I'm above Justin. Yeah, I actually quite like the Lashawna Harold stuff as well. Let's do this. Let's go with that. I think that feels better to me. Yeah, loving Gwen. I think that feels right. Actually, it's just All Stars is bringing it down a little bit. It doesn't bring it down that much. Lashawna, I mean, Lashawna's just solid all around. Harold, now, okay, I like this guy. I like this guy. I actually I like him in Ireland. Harold is just like, for the most part, he's not that useful in the challenges, but every once in a while he will just completely clutch the challenge, like the dodgeball challenge or the talent challenge, or I'm thinking of an action with it escaping, like the try not to get drowned. Harold like saves everyone's lives. Like Harold does some cool shit. Harold is also sometimes very lame. It's one extreme or the other. Um, but he's actually quite interesting. I'm actually gonna put him in here. I think, is that right? Yeah. Gosh, that's. I think so. I think I do like Harold more than the Shauna. Not more than Gwen. Not more than Gwen. Cody. Okay. Cody and Island is fine. I do like him trying to get Gwen and Trent together, and then actually that whole matter was actually pretty cool. That like Cody actually got the bra. Why did Owen want the bra? What was that? Why did Owen want that? Freaky ass boy. Anyways, Cody is he's alright in Ireland. He's quite decent in World Tour, actually. I mean, him getting all the way to the final three is pretty awesome. Um. Oh, I like Cody better than DJ for sure. Ooh, let's go there. I think because Cody has a lot of sort of no, 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 no. I remember the whole Duncan. I just remember the Duncan stuff. Knocking Duncan out. That's pretty sick. The downside of Cody is that he can be a bit creepy sometimes. Um, which is sort of why he's not any higher. And also, Cody's not like especially funny or anything. So yeah. Uh, but you guess who else is creepy? It's Sierra. All Star. She's just like nothing really. I don't like. Like I probably dislike Sierra in All Stars. I don't hate her or anything, but she just it probably would have been better if it was someone else in Sierra's spot. Especially because Sierra's character does revolve pretty heavily around Cody. So, what do I think of Sierra in World Tour? I I like Sierra a little bit. She is pretty. The stalkerish behavior is pretty extreme. The, I'm probably putting her in neutral overall. Probably there. I mean, the All Star season does bring her down. I like what they try to do with Sierra in World Tour, and it kind of works, sort of. So yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of mixed emotions. So this does feel about right. Heather, I mean, it's goddamn Heather. Let's put her up in this love tier. Um, yeah, I like her more than Duncan. Let's put her right near the very top. I mean, the villain and Island, that's pretty awesome. Although the plot armor is thick. I don't love that. I do dislike that. But otherwise, I mean, action. I think she's really good in action. I think obviously World Tour, she's the winner of that. I mean, what a nice arc, going from villain to like the hero, and I think they do a pretty good job. I think they do give Heather a little plot armor in World Tour as well, but it's not enough where it like bothers me. Unlike an Island where it does bother me, and then All Stars, she's fine. She's just fine. A little dumb in her elimination episode, but oh well. I mean, it's Heather. What do you expect? You need someone to spice up the show. You got Heather. Heather will do just that. All right, the final contestant we're going to talk about is Alejandra, and I like I. You'll notice the pattern where I do tend to like the villainous characters, and Alejandro is a villain I like. Put him above Owen, above Duncan, not above Heather. Not above Heather. I guess it's time to talk about Alejandro and Heather together. Yeah, I obviously really like that. It is nice that in All Stars they actually do finally get together. That's always a nice thing. But I mean, yeah, I mean Alejandro I think is my favorite villain. I think him in World Tour he makes a very good first impression. Very strong without being too OP. Alejandro does get a little bit of plot armor as well. And maybe some characters are dumbed down slightly, but not to the point where it bothers me. And I think part of it is that Alejandro does have this charm to him, and is also a new contestant, so they don't really know what he's about yet. And that's what I like about Alejandro in All Stars. Everyone sort of knows his shit at that point. Everyone's like, no, I don't trust you with a 10-foot pole, and so Alejandro actually has to try and do other things to stay in the game. I don't love his encounter with Mal. That elimination episode. It's a noble thing. Which is kind of weird to say about Alejandro, but I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to Mal. Not in this video, of course. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Alejandro in World Tour is a solid villain. some solid karma, a little bit too much, but not. Yeah, nothing bothers me that much about him, and just like I do like him, and I do think when he can be funny sometimes. I think the him being that like inferiority complex with his brother and all that, that's just a nice sort of weakness to have, something to bring him down a level, right? Because Alejandro is pretty OP. Blaine Lee, so world tour host and world tour aftermath host and celebrity manhunt. I like her. I do like this guy. I think Blaine Lee is funny. Blaine Lee is a mean woman, but she's funny, man. I gotta respect it. Um, and I honestly, I actually like Blaney in the competition. I do like Blaney. So I think some people don't like Blaney, and I get it. But oh man, Blaney is like there. Do I like Blaney more than Cody? I think I think so. Yeah, I'm putting Blaney pretty high. I did used to have Blaney higher. She. There's just not a lot of Blaney in the show, but for what little she's in it, I think she's good. And then finally, we got Chef and Chris. I mean, it's Chef. I like him. He's cool. He's cool. Um, that feels about right to me. I mean, Chef's in so many seasons. I think his best season is Island or Action. It is a bit of a shame as the seasons go on, he gets less and less relevant. I mean, Chef's barely relevant in Parkatow Island. But then in the reboot, they actually give Chef more to do. Now, he's a bit nicer in the reboot and in the rematch, but they actually let Chef do more things. He sort of, I like it in the Elimination Ceremony when he talks about, why certain people should be eliminated. That's cool, that gives Chef something to do. And Chef's just more relevant in the new seasons. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, Chef's cool. I mean, there's nothing I really dislike. I don't love Chef, but I like him. He's a cool co-host. And yes, we finally end off with the host with the most, Chris McLean. This is a piece of shit. This character is a awful human being, but man, is he one entertaining host. I think partially because he's so unhost like. He's not like a typical host at all. He is like sadistic and cruel. Now, the biggest issue with Chris is sometimes the show is rigged. He will just sometimes blatantly rig the show, and I mean, he does. There's a point where he does get too mean. I'm thinking Parker Taylor specifically because holy shit, Chris is so mean that it's a little bit one dimensional. My favorite season of Chris is probably Island or Action. Island, I think Chris is like just a tad. Chris is a bit nicer in Island, and Action Chris just feels like the right amount of meanness, like the right amount with just enough goodness in there to make him interesting. Um, yeah, I gotta put him there. I mean, Chris is just fucking awesome. Even in the new season, it's still got that edge. I mean, Chris is funny, adds a lot of drama to the show. He is an awful person that will sometimes rig things, and I don't like when he rigs things. Well, sometimes I like it. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I don't. It depends on the situation. But I mean, yeah, what an entertaining character. Uh, Don, I will just mention Don briefly. Don is cool, but I mean, Don just doesn't stand out to me. Unlike Chris, who just stands out a hell of a lot. And anyways, yeah, I mean that is my tier list for the Total Drama Island characters. Yeah, eventually I'm looking to do Revenge of the Island and then go from there. Anyways, if you liked the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Hello, I am D-Man, back with another ranking of Total Drama characters. This time, we're doing the Total Drama Revenge of the Island cast from Season 4. I like Revenge of the Island, and I like these characters for the most part. So, I mean, hey, let's just get right into it. First character we got here is Brick. Brick's cool. Brick's cool. I like him. I like him. Honorable. Has some funny moments. But yeah, just overall, just like nice guy. But still like interesting. Like there's still like Brick's got some quirks. I love the whole fashion thing he's got going on. Like he's not good at it, but you can see the passion there. Definitely takes a lot of the injuries in the season as well. Sort of the pain magnet, which is it's fine. I mean, Brick doesn't deserve the pain, but it's just kind of his shtick, and I think he does his shtick well. And yes, I mean, yes, it would have been good for Brick to return in All Stars. Definitely would have fit the heroic hamsters theme. But oh well. Next we got Joe. Joe's alright. I like Joe. Not as much as Brick. Joe is kind of like this mixture of like Eva with like Heather a little bit, kind of. Like kind of like Eva, but like with like some actual strategy going on, and not as angry. Joe's cool though. I do like. There's a few moments where they actually like they could have made Joe pretty just like full on like villain pretty easily, but they give Joe just enough of these like these good moments where it's like, okay, this feels like a person, not a great person, but they're a person, you know. I'm mostly thinking of yeah, I mean, this is just Joe's cool. I like her dynamic with Brick a lot. That's very fun. That like competitive energy, and of course Joe and Lightning's dynamic's always a lot of fun. You know that like that's fun too. Even Joe and Cameron, that's quite, you know. I will be honest. I wish the finale was actually Joe and Cameron. I think because they sort of build up this. Cameron wants to sort of be in an alliance with Joe, and Joe sort of underestimates him, and so that would have been a really cool sort of finale to have Joe having to like be like, Cameron, little stick boy, I crushed this stick boy with my bare hands, you know, sort of like very similar to Lightning versus Cameron, but I just feel like with Joe versus Cameron you'd have a bit more of a history. Anyways, this isn't about a Joe vs Cameron video. This is ranking Total Drama Revenge of the Island characters. And next we got Shabam! It's Lightning. No, I don't dislike Lightning. I like him more than Joe. Lightning is just, I mean, he's just funny. He's not bright at all. He's kind of got this bit of like, he's definitely got this arrogance to him, but it's just fun to watch. I mean, he's not very bright, so like, you know, his arrogance sometimes he gets, you know, pays for it a little bit. And of course, you know, Lightning vs Cameron is a good finale. Like Brain vs Bron, can't really go wrong. They do try and like make Lightning a bit of a villain at the end of Revenge of the Island, but it's not like too bad. And then Lightning in All Stars is actually like quite good still. And I didn't mention Jo in All Stars, but she's fine in All Stars. mean, they both get eliminated pretty early, so what can you do? Cameron. I like him in Revenge of the Island quite a bit. All Stars, he's probably neutral in All Stars. That means he goes right there. I like Cameron more than I'm neutral on Cameron. I mean, I think his run on Revenge of the Island is quite. I think it's solid. I think it's a solid. I think Cameron's a solid winner, sort of an underdog. Like, Cameron legitimately has some interesting strategies going on. Like, again, he does try and align himself with Joe, or when he thinks Joe is gonna like betray him or whatnot, Cameron puts that small explosive in the smoke machine. That like Cameron has like a slight like devious edge. Even in All Stars with the plan with Scott with the Fang, that sort, so Cameron, good person at heart with just enough going on where it's like, yeah, I like this. And of course he is like super like scrawny, so that's always it's always fun to have that sort of character compete on a show like this. I mean, especially Revenge of the Island, where it seems like everything is out to kill these people. Mike, there is a lot of there's a lot to Mike, isn't there? Mike himself, I like him alright. But, I mean, this isn't just Mike, right? This is all the personalities, right? I mean, I gotta factor all of them in. Svetlana I like. Chester's funny. Manitoba Smith's fine. Probably a little unnecessary. Vito's actually quite good. Vito actually does some stuff. And then Mal is fine in concept. Execution is slightly iffy. Like, I think they make Mal just a bit too evil. Like, there's just nothing redeeming at all. Or I guess not. That's not. It's just like Mal's a bit too like cartoony of a villain, which I mean, I a bit ironic because, well, Total Drama's a cartoon and all, but the characters are usually relatively grounded out, and Mal is not grounded out. Well, okay, I guess Pockettail Island's not very grounded, its characters, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Mal's a bit goofy. I like Mike. Mike and Zoe's obviously cute. Right there. Everyone's just, so far this is a very boring ass tier. I just like everyone. I don't love anyone. I'm not neutral. I don't dislike anyone. If I might have to like change it slightly. Zoe, god damn it. Guess who's going in the like tier as well? Yeah, Zoe. It's pretty good. Revenge of the Island, or like Commando Zoe. All Star Zoe's not too bad. I like her dynamic with like Duncan, and just sort of her dynamic with the Heroes team. The mouse stuff is not great, but eventually she catches on. I wish she catched on a little earlier, but what can you do? I like Zoe. She's cool. Yeah, that feels right to me. I'm gonna actually move Brick up to the love. I'm gonna put him right at the bottom of love, because Brick is. I just wish Brick had more episodes. It's a shame, but Brick really. Only 7 episodes? It's crazy. Anne Maria. Alright. I like Anne Maria. God damn it. I mean, it's good. It's good because, it's good. It's a solid cast overall here. But, Anne Maria probably goes at the very bottom of, like... I mean, she's sort of a bit of a one-off, gimmick. The stuff with Vito is just a little extra drama. I mean, That's pretty neutral, actually. It's pretty neutral. We got to have someone in neutral, and I think Emery is. I like Emery. So, there's just not a whole lot, there. Actually, I do like her dynamic with Cameron a little bit. That's actually quite fun. Um, this feels about right because I guess the drum with Vito in there is a little bit. It's whatever. All right, Scott. I know Scott's not going in the like tier because he's going way at the top. Yeah, let's go. Not my favorite character, but Scott. I just think he's a really entertaining villain in Revenge of the Island. Really entertaining, a little bit of plot armor, but not too much plot armor. I have a video all about why I think Scott's plan is actually quite good, albeit risky, but it's good. And yeah, I mean, Scott and All Stars is also, pretty good, even if it's a very. Well, I guess the first maybe like 2 episodes feels like Scott from Revenge of the Island, but Scott very quickly turns into almost a different character. I mean, almost, not quite, but yeah. The Scott and Courtney stuff's cute. But yeah, Revenge of the Island. Scott is just like this sneaky little rat bastard. That's the best way to describe him. I don't like the karma he gets. I mean that like machine he gets like stuffed into. That is like, god damn. That is like so rough. I actually wish, and All Stars where you got Alejandro still in the robot suit or whatever, and then when he gets out, his legs don't work for a little bit. I kind of wish they had something like that in All Stars where like Scott, he's not in the machine or whatever, but he's just like in a wheelchair or something. He's like, I got mauled up, So that'd been funny just to have. Although, I mean, I'm perfectly okay with Scott being completely normal somehow in All Stars. He's just completely fine again, well, except for the definite PTSD he got from Fang. I mean, Scott is, like, so terrified of sharks, and I don't blame him. Yeah, I guess it's enough for, I mean, Scott also has a pretty good run in both seasons. Next up we have Dawn. I mean, this is a fan favorite character, and she's in like 5 episodes. She's like barely in it, and even within those 5 episodes, I mean, she doesn't. How relevant is Dawn in like episode 4? She's not. She immediately gets captured by the Izzy, so she's like relevant in like 3 of them. But you know what? Dawn is fucking cool. She's really cool. Maybe partially because she's so mysterious and like she isn't in the season a lot, which maybe makes her better. No, I definitely would have liked to see more Dawn. Bring back Dawn. I mean, there's a lot you can do with Dawn. I mean, I know I certainly have with Total Drama Destiny, which is a fan season I've created, which is on this channel. God, I guess like Dawn is just, yeah. I can't put Dawn any higher because she's just not that relevant in the show as a whole. I mean, but entertaining. I like how like. She's relatively nice, although I don't think she's as nice as people like say she is. I think Dawn, there's definitely like an edge to Dawn a little bit, where it's like, I mean, when you had her and Scott sort of fighting in episode 5, or even just Dawn sort of either unintentionally like revealing people's secrets, or there's just I remember a bit with Dakota where Dawn just like blatantly insults Dakota, and it's like that was a little uncalled for, but it's like it's funny. B, B, the silent guy. I mean, really entertaining while you're there. You're not there very long. Probably there. I like this guy, but he's just not in it that much. Like, and I mean, you can only do so much with the whole him being silent. I mean, I think they did about as much as you could, right? I mean, what development can you give a guy like B? Don't really know. He is really cool. I do like that he's like super smart and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's not a ton to talk about, really, is there? Alright, Dakota. I'm actually going to go neutral on Dakota. I think she's alright. I like her and Sam. That's actually very good, actually. Um, I don't mind her early elimination. She's fine in those first episodes. I think I mean Dakota's definitely best when she's brought back as the intern and you got her and Sam sort of having like just talking to each other. That's definitely Dakota at best. Eventually, you then get the Dakota Zoid, which that is certainly I do not know how I feel about that. Permanently like altering this teenage girl into like a monster is kind of crazy. I mean, Sam's into that. I mean, Sam's into it, which I mean, I mean that's funny actually. But yeah, it's also kind of yeah, I like it. But I mean, yeah, Dakota Zoid is certainly a thing that I'm probably am neutral on. I don't hate it, but I'm also like I don't know if I like that either. So and yeah, so Dakota overall is just neutral. Sam. Uh, oh, sorry, I meant Seth Rogen. I don't love Seth Rogen. Hold on. Okay, so Sam, it's fine. Probably there. I mean, Sam is just. Sam is Sam. Has some funny moments. Doesn't do a whole lot in All Stars. But I like him enough in Revenge of the. I like him in Revenge of the Night, and I'm neutral with him in All Stars. I actually wish if they were gonna bring Sam back for All Stars because I mean, he doesn't fit, right? He's not an All Star. He clearly doesn't fit with the rest of the cast. But I kind of wish they sort of lean into the fact that he doesn't fit and actually made him go further. Like, imagine Sam winning All Stars. Imagine Sam beating Alejandro and Heather and Duncan. Like, it would be so. It's like the perfect like underdog thing, and they could have done that for Sam, but they just sort of didn't do that. They just sort of had him be fodder, which is the more realistic option, I suppose, but it's not. It kind of just feels a bit of a wasted slot. But I mean, Sam's fine. Sam doesn't do anything wrong. And Sam's cool and Revenge of the Night. Again, him and Dakota is very, very sweet. And finally, we've got Stacy. I mean, I don't like Stacy. She's the first boot. She's a good first boot in the sense of like it makes perfect sense why she's the first boot. But I also think she's a bad first boot because it's too obvious of a first boot. She's too obvious of a first boot character, which I think is an issue, right? A good first boot character it should make sense why they're the first boot without it being obvious. So Ezekiel kind of does this better. It's obvious once he makes the sexist comment or whatever, but until then you don't really assume much. Beto is a good first bit because that whole team is kind of a bit shit. So I mean between like Leonard and Beto, so it's like I mean obviously one of them's got to go. Even in the reboot with with Kayla being the first boo, like it makes enough sense. I sort of get it, and I mean, I certainly that's not the most obvious pick. Stacy's too obvious. Um, yeah. So do I hate Stacy? I don't know. I don't hate. I'll be honest. The problem is I don't hate that many of the characters in Total Drama. Like most of them are fine. In fact, I like most of them. So, and Stacy's not even in it that long. Do I dislike Stacy? I guess I'll leave her dislike, but she's like at the bottom of the dislike. She's all. I almost hate Stacy, but she just doesn't bother me that much. She's not in it enough to bother me. Like, oh wow, she's annoying for one episode. I'm sure it's fine. And I mean, it's not like Stacy. I mean, if Stacy ever comes back for another season, I mean, there's not much you can do. I guess you could do a little bit, but. And anyways, yeah, so that is my Total Drama Revenge of the Island tier list. We'll do Pahkitew Island next time. If you like this video, like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.
Hello, I am D-Man, and today we'll be ranking the Total Drama Pahkitew Island cast. I've already done Revenge of the Island and the OG cast, so, watch those videos first if you haven't already. Now, what do I think of Pahkitew Island as a whole? I mean, it's Pahkitew Island. It's an okay season with a okay cast of characters. It's probably the weakest cast, but you know what? Just because it's the weakest cast doesn't mean it's, complete doo-doo. There's some good characters in here, and some less good ones. That's gonna be, yeah. Let's see which ones are the good ones. Starting off here with Beardo, who is, it's Beardo. I really don't have an opinion on this guy. He's sound effects. He's in one episode. Not mildly amusing at some points. Mildly annoying at other points. Just a character that exists to get booted off. I really got nothing to say on this guy, unfortunately. Leonard, I actually do have a little bit to say. I guess I'll actually talk about his Redonkulous race appearance first. It's kind of nothing. It's like slightly dislike that, to be honest. It's just what a waste of us. If you're gonna do any Pahkitew Island character, almost any of them would be more interesting than Leonard. But it is what it is, I suppose. Now, what do I think of Leonard and Pahkitew Island? The best part about Leonard isn't even Leonard himself, but more the way the other people around him react to him. So like with Sugar, it's kind of funny seeing Sugar being like enamored a little bit, and Ella sort of going along with it, and then you have like Sky, who's Sky sort of knows that Leonard's a bit weird, but just sort of goes along with it anyways, since that's what the team's going for. And then you have like Dave, who's just like, what the fuck is this? What is this maniac? This delusional wizard guy. And Leonard is delusional. I just don't think Leonard's that compelling. He's not that interesting. What is there to explore with Leonard? Not much, right? Even Beardo is more interesting because, at least because he's such a blank slate, you can't, I wouldn't mind knowing a little bit more about what Beardo's like. Why does he make sound effects? Why is he so good at making sound effects? Leonard, he's just, he's just okay. And when I mean okay, I mean, probably top of dislike. I don't hate this guy or anything, but just not. It's Leonard. I don't know what else to say, really. Next up, we've got Sugar. I consider Sugar to be the main antagonist of the season. Maybe some people would argue it's maybe it's Scarlet, or maybe it's Amy, or maybe it's Dave, or maybe it's Chris himself, because holy shit, Chris is a absolute psychopath in this season, more so than usual. But Sugar, I think Sugar's main antagonist lasted almost all the way to the finale, and as a villain, I think it kind of works actually a little bit. She's able to manipulate people, even though Sugar isn't that bright of a, she's not very smart, but she is able to manipulate people in a believable way. It's actually kind of crazy. I don't really see Sugar, like, what plot armor does Sugar have? There's not that much, really. I mean, maybe with the Ella stuff. I don't like Sugar when it comes to Ella and that. Like, I mean, I guess I get it, but that's just, yeah, that doesn't help Sugar's case. But other than that, I mean, I don't, yeah, I think Sugar's all okay. Her comedy is hit or miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, but yeah, I actually like Sugar's like strategy. When Sugar's actually starts being a villain, it's like, huh, this is actually this kind of works actually. Especially when it comes to like Dave and Sky and that, it's like, yeah, Sugar's actually, and it's believable, even because they don't like Sugar. Like, there's a bit where I remember Sean's like, I don't trust Sugar at all, but it still makes sense why people would want to work with Sugar because, you know, especially with like Sky. Like, Sky only works with Sugar because otherwise she alone has to deal with the Jasmine Sean combo, and that is, you can't beat that on your own. So, but Sugar as a whole, I mean, she's fine as a character. Like, I don't dislike Sugar. I don't like Sugar, but she's okay. Ella. One note. I wish there was just the tiniest bit of edge to Ella, because Ella currently is just a very nice person. Definitely like a bit of a gets pushed around a lot. The season is really cool, the particular characters, and Ella is one of those characters that is particularly dunked on for I don't know what reason, man. It's like this show hates Ella. Probably the most interesting part with Ella is the whole Dave thing. I mean, at least with that, we do get to see a different side to Ella, which is kind of nice. Although, I just wish there was a moment where Ella either stood up for herself or something like that. And of course, I mean, Ella is fairly, I mean, this is Disney princess wannabe, you know, she's alright. Alright, Dave. Oh, well, I mean, I like this guy, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think he's probably one of the most interesting characters in this season. I don't think Dave's that good of a person, but I think what I like about him is how it does start off with Dave being what it looks like Dave's like the only normal guy on his team. And then as the season goes on, you start to realize, no, wait a minute. Dave's kind of a a weirdo himself. Of course, the biggest thing is the whole Dave and Sky stuff. I mean, it is certainly a thing. Um, I think Dave's funny. Actually, I think Dave's pretty funny. Um, I do actually really like the episode when Sky does reject Dave, and Dave just kind of loses it. I think really the only like bad episode with Dave is the finale. I don't really like that they leave him on the island. I just don't. I don't like it with Chris showing the Sky tape, and then like it makes sense for Dave to do that at that point, but it's just like this isn't fun. It's a little depressing. So I mean, I like Dave. I do like him, but yeah. it's the finale's not great. I'll just say that. And I get probably episode 8 too. He's probably just okay there. Sky, one of the winners of this season. Hmm. I mean, I like Sky. I mean, she's fine. She's somewhat compelling. A little on the boring side, but there's just enough going on where I'm like, okay, there's something here, Sky wanting to do the competition as like that's their first priority, which that makes sense, but that's Sky's first priority. I think if I was to make Sky more interesting, I definitely would have brought up the key thing earlier, right? I mean, I wish there was if there was a confessional way back where Sky goes, oh, I like Dave, but I've already got this boyfriend. And if we heard about it earlier, I think it would have been more interesting. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, Sky's pretty cool. But is she as cool as Sean? Nah, I don't think so. Sean, I do like Sean. I'm probably gonna put him at the top of the list so far. I don't love Sean, but I like that at first when you look at him, he just seems like another weirdo, like Beardo or Leonard. You're like, this dude is preparing for the zombie apocalypse. But then as the season goes on, you start to realize, there's actually quite a bit to Sean. There's paranoia and stuff, and he actually has like character growth. I know, that's crazy. Character growth, multiple layers in a character. I've never heard of that before. But yeah, Sean actually goes through some development, and by the end, he's not, he's still a bit of a paranoid sort of guy, but he's not as much, it still feels like Sean, but a sort of a renewed Sean, and of course Jasmine really helped in that department. I like how Sean has changed for Jasmine, but not so much where it's like a different person or anything. Um, and I think his dynamic with Dave is cool. You wouldn't think those two would get along. Dave, germaphobe, Sean, not afraid to get, dirty and whatnot. Like literal, don't look at me like that. Anyways, but they get along. And I do prefer Sean as a winner over Sky. Um, the only reason why I might prefer Sky as a winner is just Sean kind of gets a good ending regardless, right? He's gonna get with Jasmine either way. It's just so the only reason why you might prefer like why I might prefer a Sky ending is because Sky also gets something good too, right? It's just Dave that loses. But I still kind of prefer Sean winning the money. It just feels better to me. And Jasmine's up next. Well, I gotta like her at least a little bit. She is Australian. I have to, hell yeah. Um, oh, I'm gonna put it here actually. I mean, she's pretty cool. I definitely like her relationship with Sean. I like that Jasmine eventually is just like, you know what? Maybe I just have a. Sean might be strange, but you know what? God damn it, I still like that dude. Um, the only maybe part of Jasmine that isn't as great is obviously when Jasmine doesn't like Sean. She's quite harsh, and that conflict probably goes on a little bit too long, right? I mean, it even starts to impact Sky and Dave because in episode 8, when Sky switches teams, Jasmine's basically like focus on the competition, ignore Dave. You see what Sean did to me, and it's like it kind of works. Like I get why Jasmine's like that, but it just feels like she's angry for just a little too long. Um, but of course, I mean, Sean ends up winning her over again, and it's pretty much good from there. I, Jasmine being upset in the finale is completely fine to me. Like Sean did just straight up like Sean basically just straight up lied to Jasmine there, so like totally makes sense why Jasmine's angry. And even then, she's just like, I don't want them to win. I don't want them to get hurt, which that's good. Um, Otherwise, I mean, she's definitely a good team leader. I do like her friendship with Sammy. That's obviously nice. I wish they did more with that, but for what's there, it's pretty cool to have Jasmine actually help someone out. She's cool. I just don't like her as much as Sean and Dave. Next we got the twins. Starting with Sammy. She's good, but she's not in it very long. Like I, I definitely should have done more with this twin thing. Ooh, let's put a. I'm a little biased towards Sammy, but does that feel right to me? Probably. That's just a lot. I wish I could put Sammy higher. In fact, Sammy was up there on my list at some point, but there's just not enough for Sammy to do in the 5 episodes. She does some cool stuff. I love when she tricks Amy with the fruit. I like her sort of slowly opening up and stuff. I also like when there's a few moments where Sammy's there's like enough of an edge, which is sort of what I said with Ella doesn't have anything, right? She's just perfectly nice. Sammy's similar. She's quite nice, timid. But there's a few moments where it's like, you know what? This girl is capable of some ruthlessness. And I kind of like that, You know, you could sort of in those moments you could sort of see, oh, that's Sammy and Amy are twins, and that sort of that moment there, sort of those moments sort of make me go, yeah, I can see it. Um, and then Amy returns, and then yeah, I mean, I think Sammy's I think very solid. Has a few funny moments. But yeah, I just wish they did more with these twins. I don't know if about like full blown Sammy should have won and like Amy be the main villain, but just I would have pushed him a few. I would have pushed both characters a few episodes ahead. Maybe eliminate Amy in episode 5, and then eliminate Sammy in episode 7. I think people would have liked that more, even if people don't like Amy. Because Amy is not a very nice person. Speaking of Amy, um, I don't hate Amy. Amy is very, very cruel. And if my biggest issue with Amy isn't actually her cruelness, but she's just very one note. She's just not very compelling. She's evil for some reason we do not know. It obviously Amy has the potential to be interesting because like there has to be a reason why Amy's doing this, right? To Sammy, right? We never get a reason. We never get to see any sort of humanity, right? You know when I said I appreciate the moments where Sammy has a little bit of that ruthlessness. I wish there was a moment with Amy where there was a little bit of vulnerability, sort of. But they don't give Amy any sort of moment like that. Which I get why, because Amy is sort of meant to be someone you're not meant to like, but um, yeah, that feels about right to me. Do I bring Beto down to dislike just because he's so nothing? Maybe. I need more than the dislike. I will do that. Rodney, alright, Rodney. Um, nah, this ain't it. I mean, I don't hate Rodney, but like, this dude ain't great. I don't like this guy. 4 episodes, barely does anything. His gimmick is mildly humorous, but overall, it's just like, get this guy out of here, kind of thing, I mean, part of the problem is like, does Rodney go through like an arc at all? No, not really. You know, this is probably what they should have done, right? Because there's an idea for a character here, this like hopeless romantic type. You could do something with that, and I don't really think the show's had like a helpless romantic character before, unless I'm just completely blanking out. But Rodney doesn't do anything with that. Like it's just Rodney's there for the jokes, right? That's what Rodney's for. And a few of the jokes, it's amusing how ridiculous it is, but that doesn't make a great character, unfortunately. Next we've got Topher. Hmm. He's fine. I don't know. I do, I like the idea of a character wanting to take over the show. This like ultra fanboy of Chris, sort of like Sierra a little bit, but this is a different take because Toph actually wants to take over the show and isn't really in it for the game so much, right? I mean, he mostly just cruises along until he finds the right opportunity to try and take over the show as the host and whatnot. Um, and that's fine. I think that's a perfectly fine thing. It's just, what does Topher do with all the other characters here? Um, Jasmine and Topher in the caves in episode 7. Scarlet gets like mad at him in episode 8. Um, that's about it. Topher really doesn't really interact with anyone other than Chris himself, which, I mean, that makes sense. Topher is a Chris fan, and his whole plot revolves around Chris, but I think they could have done more with the idea, I suppose. And final two characters, we got Max, the evil genius. That he's also just he ain't. Well, he's not dumb. He is smart, but he's just really. He's very odd. But for some reason, I like Max. He's like, he actually is kind of funny. Even though he's in it for 10 episodes, it's crazy how many episodes Max is in, and kind of works, actually. Partially because of the dynamic with Max and Scarlet. It's quite entertaining to have Scarlet be like the straight man, slowly just getting more and more pissed at Max's just idiocy. So that's actually quite a good, that's quite a humorous duo right there. And Max is just has quite a lot of interactions with a lot of the cast, and he's just entertaining. He is not very compelling. He doesn't have much depth, although I suppose he's got a little bit of depth because he's like a really good babysitter and whatnot, and so he's got this like attachment here with like children, and it's like Max wants to be evil, but he really isn't that bad of a guy. Like, I don't know I guess I don't know why he wants to be evil, but like, I guess that's just what he's into, I guess. I actually do like Max enough to put him in low like. I'm not going crazy over Max, but you know what? I like you. I like you, dude. And finally we've got Scarlet. So the first 9 episodes, she's mostly okay. First few episodes, she's kind of just there. Then you actually start having Scarlet and Max interact. You start seeing this sort of devious side of Scarlet, and you go, okay, Scarlet might be more interesting than I thought. And then you keep going, and Scarlet does get more interesting as the season goes by, and then you get Scarlet Fever, which is episode 10, and this is where, I mean, this is the best episode in the season, in my opinion. I don't know if this is the best episode for Scarlet's character. Um, I mean, in this episode, the whole island's gonna blow up. Scarlet basically reveals herself as I was a supervillain the whole time, basically. Which, I mean, it's funny to see Max just absolutely just shit himself over this. To see someone who's actually evil and is willing to let Scarlet is willing to let people die for some money, which, yeah, that's pretty wild, I'd say. Of course, this big reveal does completely ruin the character we've seen beforehand. But it's entertaining to watch Scarlet in episode 10, but it does just completely alter her character, and part of me kind of prefers when Scarlet was just like, she's really smart and just like a more quiet evil rather than this bombastic ha 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 I am evil. I liked the quiet manipulation that Scarlet was doing beforehand. Overall, I'm probably gonna go neutral. Yeah, that feels about right to me. I would go high neutral. Um, you could do more with Scarlet, I guess, but you sort of have to figure out that whole, do you make her the, you know, it's kind of tricky with Scarlet. Anyways, that is my Parkatail Island ranking. It's all kind of squished in this like and neutral dislike thing. Like there's none of the characters here I love. There's none I hate. There's not really any. I'll be honest, this whole show, I don't know if there's a single character I hate or despise in this whole show. There's no character that I think's the worst. Maybe the Redonkus race will have a character I actually hate. Who knows? I guess you'll have to find out next time when I do the Redonkulous race. Hello, I am D-Man, and today I'll be ranking all of the Redonkulous race characters. There is a lot of them. Don't worry, Tammy, Brody, and Gary are not in the worst. I gotta put them somewhere here. So just pretend they're down in this bottom section. What I want to say about the Redonkulous race, I have rewatched it recently. It was pretty good. I still think I like it less than most people, but hey, you know what? It's solid time. It's a big old cast. And yeah, I mean, we should pretty much get right into it. Jeff, Owen, Noah, and Leonard will not be ranked since I already ranked those characters. I'm not gonna re-rank them, although I will, you know, mention them in passing. Let's start with Tammy. I'm so forgettable. I'm not gonna lie. She's like part of the LARPA team or whatever. I'm dislike, low dislike. I don't hate Tammy because Tammy doesn't do anything wrong. Like, she just isn't interesting at all. Right, you know, Leonard himself's not too interesting. And Tammy's, you know, even less interesting. Brody, on the other hand, is not so bad, actually. Sort of like a more bro Jeff, hence the name Brody. It's part of the finale. I do like the Surfer team. It's a cool, just a nice, likable team. I think they're decent winners. Especially since they, you know, they get eliminated and then they come back, and it doesn't feel too bad actually for them to win. It's a bit strange, but it works. It does work. I do like Brody, but I don't love Brody or anything. You know, Brody's, you know, low like. I like Brody, but he's not a super interesting character. He's just funny, likable. I do like the thing with him and MacArthur. That's cool too. Um, Gary. Oh, you're fine. They're a little funny, and I mean, Pete is going in the exact same spot. Ooh, Gary or Pete, which one's better? I think I like Gary more. And, and I guess Gary's design's a little better. They're the goddamn same. I mean, yeah, they're a little funny. That they don't overstay their welcome. Just nice. Elodie and Mary, they're all right. I think I like them a little less than the old folks. Um, I like Elodie more. Um, and it's just that laugh she does. In episode 2, I think, with Jeff. That's a funny laugh. I like that. Otherwise, I mean, basically the same, eh? Yeah, but despite this being a big cast, I mean, a lot of these characters are, because it's in teams of 2, a lot of those teams end up having, like, 2 very similar characters. But not Rock and Spud. No, these are pretty distinct characters. Rock is a rocker, believe it or not. I like him actually. I like him more than Brody. I think Rock's cool. Rock's cool. I mean, there's not a lot to say about him. Um, but he's cool. Spud, Potato. Yes. He's. Yeah, we'll go top of neutral. I mean, Spud's alright. Spud's a very gimmicky character. I like his delayed pain reaction stuff. It's it. Again, I mean, there's not a ton to say about a lot of these characters because the way the format of the show is different, so and there's also so many characters that a lot of characters don't get to do a whole lot. I mean, doesn't Spud doesn't say a whole lot until like multiple episodes in because Spud's not a very talkative person. The vegans. Ooh, Miles and Laurie. Okay. I like them more than the. I don't know. I don't know what the team's called. The geniuses probably. That wouldn't surprise me. I actually like Laurie more. I like Laurie's explosiveness. I don't know. I mean, it's a fine team. I mean, I do like this. Yeah, I like this slight unhingedness of this team. It doesn't. It's not like too. It's in your face, but it's not like too in your face about it. I don't like them particularly because I mean they're not super interesting. But I mean, if they were in it longer, maybe they'd be more interesting. I could see that actually. Yeah. Tom and Jen, named after the creators of the show. That's your fun fact for the day. Tom. Tom and Jen are a little annoying, aren't they? Fashion bloggers. I mean, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna put him down here. A high dislike, like the top of dislike. And I like Jen more than I like Tom. Yeah, I mean, Fez is are not in style yet. Not yet, Tom. Um, yeah, I mean, really, it's not. It's hard. This is a hard tier list to do. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the other ones is I find like I did recently rewatch this, so I should have a lot to say, but I really don't. Yeah, like, what else can I say? They're the fashion bloggers. They start to fight at one point. They get along in the end, you know? Whoop-de-doo. Here's another duo, Lorenzo and Chet. That is an unfortunate name. Uh, they are fine stepbrothers. They hate each other at first, and they find something in common, and they like each other. Um, I, I guess I like Chet more. I don't fucking know. Um, I mean, yeah, when they're fighting, it's just like, yep, this is kind of meh. But when they start getting along, they actually do become a bit more interesting. A bit like Jeff and Brody a little bit. But it's cool when they actually do start getting along. But until then, it's like 10 episodes. So it's 10 episodes of them just, I hate you, no, I hate you, yay. Mickey and Jay. These, actually, I do kind of like. They're a little funny actually. Yeah, they're a little funny. I mean, basically just like a complete, just watch them get hurt. Oh, pain magnet. That's what it's just like. They're just absolute pain magnets, and it is kind of hilarious how like just fucked their lives are. They're allergic to everything in existence. And I mean, I feel like they go out at the right time. They do get to do some stuff with Has that brief alliance with Kitty and Emma. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, I like them. I like them. I think they're funny. It's cool to see them, get sort of decently far in the show without it being like too ridiculously far. I think that's a good spot for them. Taylor and Kelly. Taylor, I'm gonna put in the top of dislike. Kelly, I'm gonna go neutral, and I'm gonna go above the stepbrothers. Yeah. Taylor's your like a sort of annoying rich girl. I don't find Taylor that annoying. And Kelly is actually a little interesting. Just sort of this mum that just gets pushed over. And I mean, of course, the lesson is eventually the mum learns to stand up for herself, and that's cool and all. I mean, that's the plot. I summarized like 11 episodes in 30 seconds. Okay. I like Dwayne. I do like Dwayne. He's actually probably the best yes ever. I don't love Dwayne, but you know what? Dwayne's funny. He's trying too hard to be cool, but I think because Junior is there to sort of, it's Junior and Dwayne work well off each other. Junior being this kid who's trying to be an adult, even though he's just a kid still, and then Dwayne is trying to be cool, but he ain't cool, and it's actually cool to, it's cool that they still, I mean, they still love each other, but trying to get through those differences is it creates some nice conflict sometimes. Junior, it's funny how Junior's also the more competent of the two. That's kind of funny. Junior, I like a little less. Um, Junior's like crush on Carrie is it's kind of cute, even though you know nothing's gonna happen of that. And I mean, you certainly wouldn't hope so. Like that'd be illegal. I don't like that. Speaking of Carrie, here she is. And Devon. Oh man. You know what? These are the characters I think I can actually start like talking about a little bit. Because these ones actually go pretty far. Carrie and Devon's storyline is so stretched out. It's so unbelievably stretched out. This plot could be done in like a couple of episodes if you really wanted to. Maybe like 6 or 8 episodes. You could do this Carrie Devon plot in like 8 episodes. But no. They gotta stretch it out until it's 24, like 23 fucking episodes. It takes so long, right? There's like 13 episodes where it's just Carrie's like, I like Devon, and Devon is oblivious and is like, ooh, Shelley. And then, Shelley breaks up with Devon over the tennis instructor, which is, that is funny, albeit, I mean, poor Devon. And then you have Devon go through the 7, like, stages and whatnot, and it's like, that takes a couple episodes to get through, and then eventually it's like it starts to get a little better, and then eventually Devon starts liking Carrie at the same moment that Carrie stops liking Devon, and it's like, oh, we're doing this again, but in reverse. And then finally they get together, and it's like, yes, you can start being like a little interesting now. And then they're gone. And I mean, yeah. Carrie herself, I like. Also, Carrie's also trying to get with Devon, even though Devon has a girlfriend at that point. I'm putting Carrie in neutral though. After all of that, after that like mini rant, I'm putting Carrie here. I actually like Carrie when she interacts with a lot of the other characters, especially Ryan. That's actually a duo I quite enjoy seeing together. And it's also cool to have Carrie like ask like Kitty for advice and stuff. So, like, Carrie is alright when it's not to do directly with Devon. I like Carrie asking for advice, or just Carrie interacting with Junior or Ryan and stuff like that. Like, that's cool to me. But that plot, I mean, it's stretched. Devon, I don't really like. Top of dislike. I'm gonna go top of dislike. Devon, I mean, he's probably most interesting when he does like Carrie and Carrie doesn't like him back. That's probably when Devon's at his best. But for a lot of it doesn't. He's barely a character, right? He's just the person Carrie likes. And then when Devon gets dumped, I don't know. I just don't find the 7 stages bit interesting, and it feels a bit like mechanical. That's not quite the word I'm looking for, but like mechanical, I guess. Devon almost feels more like a robot. This point is not getting across very well, but yeah. Does suck that Devon gets like injured, like randomly. Like that's kind of fucked. But I mean, Yeah, it is what it is. Stephanie and Ryan. The daters turn into the haters, turn into the daters again. Um, Stephanie. Oh, Stephanie is kind of reminds me of Courtney or like Priya, but like somehow like more impatient. um, maybe not. I mean, Priya can be pretty. Yeah. Yeah. Stephanie is pretty ruthless. Um, I don't. Uh, I I I I'm neutral on. I'm gonna say I'm neutral on Stephanie. Yeah, right in between. Hold on, this isn't right. That's better. Stephanie is all right. I mean, when Ryan and Stephanie are dating, it's just like it's not interesting. But it's not like that for too long. And what's cool is you do start seeing like the cracks slowly, right? You start seeing Stephanie just slowly get more and more pissed off at Ryan for these like minuscule failures, but it is what it is. And then eventually they're hating each other, and that's when it's actually quite entertaining. It's good to see. It's also good for Ryan because Ryan's a cool guy, but then he's not afraid to mess around with Stephanie as well, and then they also start doing well at some point, so they start to like intentionally just like I hate you, and you know what? Because I hate you, we're gonna win this competition, and it kind of works. Um, and then of course when they start like going back to like dating slowly, it does kind of work. Um, I don't know if it's gonna last, because Stephanie's a pretty unstable person. I will be perfectly honest. I do like Carrie x Ryan more than Carrie and Devon and Ryan and Stephanie, but that's just me. Ryan, I actually like Ryan. I'm gonna put Ryan above Rock, below Junior. Ryan's cool. Ryan is he's just a fairly likable guy, you know? He's big, he's strong, but he's not like a douche about it or anything. He's cool, he's cool. Um Ooh. Ennui and Crimson for the Goths. They're similar. It's funny because they're in it a lot, but they actually don't do a whole lot. But they are cool. They are cool. Um, I like them more than Rock and but yeah, less than Ryan. Um, yeah, they're funny when they're there. It's like a little treat, Um, because they're not there at a time, but when they are there, it's like that's cool. I do like when they degoth for a little bit, and they're like, oh my god, that's actually kind of cool. And then they have Loki, the little rabbit, and then you have this thing where the Don, the host, just really doesn't like the goths for some reason. He just doesn't like them, and then you have this like almost one-sided rivalry with the ice dancers as well. So there is some cool stuff going on with the goths, but I mean they're a little one note. But there's enough there. I think there's definitely enough there where I think that they're different enough from like Gwen, for example. Okay, Kitty and Emma. All right, Kitty. I like Kitty. She's cool. She's cool actually. She's pretty cool. I like her. I like her and Owen working together to get Emma and Noah together. And Kitty's just likable. Like that's pretty much it. She's likable. Kitty and Emma go very far. You know, basically, yeah, these are sisters that, they clearly have their differences, but, they actually like each other, unlike, like Sammy and Amy. This is actually like a believable sibling dynamic. Um, yeah, with, Kitty being the more outgoing, cheerful, adventurous one, and then Emma's the more stern, serious one, and it works. And Emma herself is slightly less likable. I just don't like it at the very sort of beginning of the show where Emma's sort of berating Kitty a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of that, but thankfully it's not like that for long. And of course, we eventually get the whole Noah and stuff, and once that starts happening, then it's like, yeah, now this is some good shit, And I mean, I would have preferred a Kitty Emma ending over the two endings we've got. But I mean, they still get a nice, respectable fourth place, so I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, I do. I do like their dynamic with Owen and Noah a lot. Kitty and Emma. That's just a fun four characters to bounce off each other. Next, we have the Ice Dancers, Jose and Jacques. The villains. I like them as villains. Now, it's hard to have a villain in this format of the show, right? Because the Redonkulous race obviously is a amazing race parody, while the regular series is based off Survivor. And to have a villain in the Amazing Race format is harder to do. But I think this works. I think just having these, like, kind of cheaters, but mostly they just play really dirty. And they're just so desperate to win. Like, for the record, winning doesn't matter that much, right? You like, it really does not matter at all, right? Except for, like, the occasional reward. But these two, because these two want it so badly, you still kind of want to root for other characters to win. I don't think it entirely works, because I don't super care myself, but, like, it does help that these two clearly want to win, and when they lose, or not when they lose, but when they get, like, second or third or fourth, God forbid, yeah, they get, it's fun to watch them just lose their shit. But yeah, I do like their tactics. They play dirty, they do a lot of, nasty things, and it's believable. It's believable. Are nice, they last a long time. They never get boring. I like how it's not actually immediately obvious that they're the villains from the get-go. Because at the very start, they just kind of seem like overly just, like, I don't know, like overly, like, attention seeking maybe, or like camera seeking. But then as the season goes on, it's like, oh, these two aren't that like they're kind of pricks. And then by the the end, they're full on villains, and it's good. I actually think I really like these characters. I'm actually gonna put Jacques higher, because Jose is a very angry person. Very, like, between the two, Jose is definitely the more evil of the two. Jacques is like kind of like the assistant in Jose's, like, schemes. And I really like Jacques. Like, sometimes he's willing to go along with the villainy, and sometimes he's also like, oh man, this is like, are we sure about this? Like, I like having him, like, be a bit more hesitant. I remember in episode 24 when, like, Jose is under the water and just starts freaking out. Jacques is just like, oh, Jacques is like, oh man, you feel bad for Jacques sometimes. I guess that's the thing. Alright, final characters before we get to rating Don himself. MacArthur and Sanders. Um, MacArthur is very out there. Definitely has anger problems. MacArthur is interesting. MacArthur is interesting, and I do like the redemption. Not necessarily redemption. I do like the arc they give her with Sanders to have MacArthur start listening to Sanders, but MacArthur is kind of not a great person. They're clearly going for like a good cop, bad cop thing, and MacArthur's definitely the bad cop. And it's interesting it's interesting that they're a winner, I guess. That MacArthur is one of the winners. Um, I like it, but I do kind of wish. I do wish MacArthur maybe grew just a little bit more as a person. Maybe just listen to Sanders just a bit more. I do like MacArthur, but she is going there. And then Sanders is pretty cool. I mean, Sanders is not the most interesting character, but like, she definitely deserved to win after all she went through with, I mean, the ice stances and her like arm being broken and like, yeah, that's pretty wild. I probably like about as equal to MacArthur, surprisingly, but I do like Sanders just a little bit more than the Goths. Yeah, MacArthur there's just a few moments with MacArthur which just bother me a little bit. Overall, I like MacArthur. I like the MacArthur Brody thing. That's cool. But otherwise, and like I like the police cadets as winners. I think they're good winners too. Um, but yeah, that's sort of that. And then finally, but not least, we have the host. It's not Chris McLean. It's Don. Don is a more typical host, right? So directly compared with Chris McLean, Chris is not very host-like. He's not a good host, I guess, but Chris is very entertaining. Don is a good host. He's, and he's certainly more likable than Chris, but he's not as interesting, right? Like Chris is he makes the show so interesting because he's so terrible and makes things terrible on purpose with just a hint of humanity, just so Chris is not completely psychotic. Sometimes they do go a little overboard. Sometimes Don, he's your typical, witty host, and that's cool. I like Don, but I don't, at the end of the day, it's just sort of, I like Total Drama for its atypical hosts, I guess. Don, I do like Don's whole thing with the goths and the ice dancers too. It is Don is fun, so I will put Don there. I think I like Don. He's cool. And yeah, I mean that is my ranking for the Redonkulous race. Most of them I like. Some of them I'm neutral on, but I mean it's mostly the early eliminations, so pretty quickly you get all the good characters. Yeah, there's at this rate, there's still no characters I hate or I think are the worst. I mean, will the reboot do that for me? Probably not, but you know what? Who knows when we get to the reboot characters next time. Anyways, if you liked this video, like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Hello, I am D-Man, and we're finally here. It's time to rank the Total Drama Island reboot characters. And you know what? Let's just start with Z. Let's not have an intro. Let's just get right into it. Z. Oh, I like this dude. Oh, he's fun. He is a funny one. Oh, I'm gonna put him in line. I'm gonna put him in line. I like this dude. He doesn't really have any story. Well, okay. In the first season, he's an amputee. That's cool. And then in the episode where he's eliminated, they had to find some way to get rid of him, so they just made Z team up with everyone, and sure, we got to get rid of him somehow. Um, the second season, they actually have him do something. They have him like keep it a secret with Caleb and that, and it's a little more interesting, to have Z, do something other than comic relief, which I think Z is good comic relief, but that's what he is. That's what he is. But then they had to get rid of Z again, and they're like, well, how the hell do we get rid of Z? Because he's just too likable. So they had him just do what Scary Girl did in the first episode, and just told a bunch of stuff that creeped everyone out. Which I've got to be honest, that's a bit could have thought of something else. I'm just saying that's a little bit shit, but whatever. I like Z though. I mean, he's just a lot of good moments. There's just a lot of funny moments with this guy. Scary Girl. The best way to describe Scary Girl is that she's like a Pahkitew Island character. However, I'm not saying that as a bad thing necessarily, because she's the only character here who's like really kind of just like really strange. And because Scary Girl's the only character that's like weird, she bounces off a lot of people. She bounces off, Damien and Bria and all, Chris. It's fun to see how people deal with this frankly absurd person. Um, and I mean, this is one of those cases where you're either gonna like Scary Girl's gimmick, or you're not gonna like Scary Girl's gimmick. I like Scary Girl's gimmick. I think it's funny. Um, they don't overstay. She doesn't overstay a welcome either, which is good. First season, 4 episodes, perfect. Second season, they eliminate her right away. Okay, you could have made. Now, there was actually something there, like Scary Girl trying to be normal. They could have actually done something with that, but no, they just kick her off right away. I actually probably I don't like that too much, but it is what it is. I get it. Um, speaking of speaking of Scary Girl, we got Damien who gets scared an awful lot. Um, not just from Scary Girl, but just from a lot of things in general. He's cool. Oh, he's cool. First season, he's all right. He basically just starts as the guy who has never seen the show and he's basically like the noob, the novice, and eventually he's just like, I need to go. And then eventually he's like, oh, I actually want to stay. And then that's when he gets voted off. Cool. Um, Damien in the first season is good, but just not really exceptional or anything. I mean, I do like the Damien and Scary Girl moments, but Damien in the second season they give him a little bit to do. They actually have him like find the immunity idol. That's pretty cool, and they give him a plot with Millie in the second season, and I like that plot a lot. Having Millie betray Damien, and Damien just can't really hold the grudge for too long, and you just know Damien's a good guy in that regard. Um, There's elimination in the second season. I don't like it. I mean, I think it's kind of dumb, but I'm sure I'll talk about that later. I do like Damien. I don't love Damien, but um, just for record, Damien and Z would be like high up. I almost love these characters, but it's just a little lacking. Axel, okay, a lot better than Eva, is what I can say. Um, for some reason they decide to have this you know how Sean is afraid of is like preparing for the zombie apocalypse, which is a very specific thing. Well, they do that with Axel too, which didn't need to do that, but it's fine because it's not really the prominent part of Axel. Axel in the first season is good. I mean, I like her in the two episodes that she's in. Um, I just like her seriousness, and I just love her survivalist attitudes, and how, I remember in the second episode she like cooks up some squirrel, and like Chase is like, "Ew, I don't want to touch anything to do with that." And it's you know Axel's really good at the challenge and stuff, but she's just a bit, maybe she's just thinking a little bit like, I don't know what the word is. Maybe she's just maybe like overly harsh, or maybe overly, I guess just she's too much in that survival mindset, which isn't that necessary. But um, Axel in the second season, I like it. I like it. So I'm one of those people. I like Axel and Ripper. That's cool. They should have built up more to it, but um, it's really good to see another side of Axel, this more romantic side, which you wouldn't think you would get from someone like Axel. But I think that's maybe why I like it. And then once Ripper and Axel are a couple, it's fine. Sort of like a Jeff Bridget thing where they just kind of make it all the time, but a little bit funnier, I would say. Mostly though, it's that sort of thing, which is it's fine, but it's not as interesting as it could be. Um, I like Axel. More or less. A little bit, just like a smidge more. Okay, Ripper. All right. Some people hate this guy. Putting him at the top so far. I this character should not work. All right. This is like the try-hard alpha. He's trying to be alpha, but he's not. And I don't know why. First of all, I don't know why Ripper is so funny to me. He makes me laugh probably the most. Um, and that says a lot because a lot of Ripper's jokes are just stupid fart jokes, which they they fucking love to put in every season. I swear to God, it's way too much, but whatever. Ignore that part of Ripper. Ignore the fart part of Ripper. Can't believe I've got to say that. But there's like three characters where I can say that about. Anyways, I mean, I like going, so Ripper, I mean, I just like he tries so hard, but he's just kind of a loser. But he's also not so malicious that he's like unlikable. There's just enough going on there. It's like, okay, I kind of understand what this guy's about. There's a little bit of sympathy, especially in the second season. I like Ripper in the second season where you really get to see this. You do get to see a nicer side to Ripper, to have Ripper try and impress Axel, and failing kind of miserably, and kind of succeeding at the same time. But to see how hard Ripper tries, it's like, I gotta respect that a little bit. Even in the finale of the first season, he tries to help Millie in his own weird way, but he does. He's like, get in the game, Millie. He's not just a complete piece of shit. Um, so I like that there's like a sympathetic angle a little bit. Unlike this next character, who there's no sympathy at all. It's Chase. On purpose, for the record, that you're not supposed to sympathize with Chase, and if you do, oh, okay. Um, I definitely see what they're going for here. It's the YouTuber. I mean, I have to like Chase, right? He's all right. He is my biggest issue with Chase is not that he is obnoxious and just pretty much just genuinely a really bad person. Because I like a lot of characters that are just awful people. But I find with Chase in particular, I just don't find him especially interesting. I guess I just think Chase is a bit too like one note. You know, you see Chase, you know what you're gonna get. There's, you know, it's not like again Ripper where like he's for the most part like you know what you're gonna get with Ripper. But like occasionally you'll be like, oh, okay, even someone like yeah, I mean I'm just thinking of someone like Chris, right? Horrible human being, but there's a few moments where you go, that's a little, you're not quite sure, you're surprised when they do something nice actually. And Chase, he's just not capable of that. And if he ever did, it would honestly feel wrong. Like it would feel wrong. But that is just the kind of character Chase is meant to be. Chase is meant to be the awful, awful, ex-boyfriend to Emma here. I'm overall I'm actually neutral on Chase. I think he does his job fine in the first season, and I mean in the second season they get rid of him quickly, which I'm fine with, even if I think that elimination is just kind of okay. Here we got Emma, and no, this is not the Redonkulous Race Emma. This is the reboot Emma. They, I, I don't know why they gave two characters the exact same name. Yes, I know in real life people have the same name, but this is total drama. Does this look like real life to you? Anyways, enough about that. Emma is alright. First season, she's basically just got a vendetta against Chase, and it works. I like Emma's I do love Emma's like spitefulness. It's amusing in some ways. It is also it is also annoying how she just keeps coming back to Chase, and I mean in a way I feel kind of bad. Like it's like Emma, you're getting duped so bad. But at the same time, it's like you come on, Emma, please, please learn. And she never really does. And then yeah, in the second season, it's just like Emma just everything. The characters basically just all go against her, and it just yeah, it's kind of rough. Emma has a pretty rough time, I'll be honest. I like her more. I'm not putting her in neutral as well, but I do like her more than Chase because Emma's got some interesting stuff. Oh, Millie, okay. Millie in the first season doesn't do a whole lot. Like, until the finale, when then Millie gets a bit more interesting. First season, Millie is neutral. I actually like Millie more in the second season. She's not in it for long, but I just really like the plot with Millie pushing Damien down that 4 point like slide or whatever, and just like that is crazy for Millie to do, and I like that Millie is like, but I'm justifying it. We won because of it, and I'm like, I like that. I actually like that Millie tries to. If Millie immediately apologized to Damien, it would be like, but the fact that Millie kind of doubles down, I'm like, I like that, and I just like that Millie is slightly. She's a good person, but I do like those occasional selfish moments the most, I think. Um, I'm gonna put Millie at the bottom of the like. I like her, but she's barely she's getting there. But Priya, Priya is in every single episode of both seasons. First season I think Priya's pretty good. perfectly fine winner. I would have preferred Bowie, but I get why Priya winning makes more sense, I think, narratively. Because Bowie was kind of a dick in the first season, so I get why they wouldn't want him to win. But anyways, Priya been training her whole life by her parents. Um, they they don't really explore that angle as much as I'd like. The fact that her parents are frankly not very good. Um, it's mentioned like maybe once or twice in the first season and like once in the second season. It's not really a thing. Um, Priya is just your sort of typical nice girl, a little shy, you know, athletic, sort of a Sky 2.0 or a Zoe 3.0. It's kind of one of those characters. Um, there are some differences, and we get to see more of that. We get to see that in the finale of the first season, um, and a lot more in the second season. Um, Priya definitely has an angry, angry streak. When Priya is angry, holy shit, is she pissed? Um, it's both interesting and honestly, in the second season more so, I do kind of feel bad for Caleb a little bit. It's a little bit sad. Um, Otherwise, I would like Pri and Caleb, and I kind of do. Actually, like Pri X Caleb is I like it enough, but yeah, it's hard to say. Um, I do like Priya, but honestly, uh, oh god, yeah. I, if it was just the first season, she'd be high, but I do think the second season does bring it down just a little bit, especially with how long Priya is in the game, knowing full well that she's not going to win because she already won. I mean, they could have made Priya win twice in a row, but like, are you fucking kidding me? There's no. I would rather anyone else win. I would rather Chase win. Like, come on. All right. Next up, we've got Caleb. First season, he does absolutely nothing. Is eliminated. Yeah, actually, when he gets eliminated, it's pretty funny. But first season, we can just ignore him. And the show ignores him too. The second season, I like what they try and do at first. They try and have Caleb at first look like maybe another Justin or an Alejandro. He's gonna try and manipulate the competition with his looks. But the twist, unlike with Alejandro and Justin, is that Caleb he just can't do it. He tries to, and he just kind of sucks at it. He's just not that manipulative sort of person. And which is kind of a nice change of pace actually. Um, and eventually we get to see that Caleb trying to get Priya to vote with him by making her like him sort of makes Caleb like Priya too, which that's cool. Um, but yeah, a lot of the second season is this conflict with Caleb and Priya again and again. I mean, it does get a little tiring after a while. Caleb eventually works with Julia at some point, and it's just a little bit of a. Caleb's very flip floppity in that, I guess, in that case. Um, uh, oh god, do I like Caleb? I don't dislike Caleb. Caleb's not super funny. He's just hmm. I will say I actually like Caleb's voice too. I don't know why. Caleb's voice is quite cool. I'm gonna put him at the bottom of the line. I'm gonna put him at the bottom of the line. He just scrapes in. I think I do like Caleb. I think I like Caleb more than Emma anyways. It's just yeah. I mean Caleb just doesn't do anything super crazy, but I like what he's about. Bowie. Oh Bowie. I uh Bowie in the first season is genuinely so fucking good. His planning, okay, the Caleb's elimination is a bit, but it's a first elimination, so it's always kind of a bit like you kind of got to rush it. But otherwise, it's like, man, Bowie's whole game plan is it's really well thought out, and it's sort of built up throughout the whole season and everything. And then, um, you then also have Bowie having a romance plot with Raj, and that's pretty damn cool as well. And so Bowie in the first season would be like here. The second season of Bowie is also really solid, but obviously Bowie is sort of a targeted a lot in that season, and just doesn't quite get that staying power. I mean, the plot he has is like he wants to cheat, and the hockey dudes don't want him to cheat, and so Bowie's trying to cheat in secret. It's fine. Um, Overall, I'm putting Bowie just below Ripper. um, take that what you will, but I mean, Bowie is still really, really cool. I like him a lot. It's got some, he's got some funny moments too as well. All right, now we got the hockey dudes. Oh, we got Raj. Um, Raj is all right. I mean, they're very similar, but there is obviously one big difference between them. Well, I guess two. Raj, Raj is sort of coming out. I think it's well done. I think Raj himself is he feels like the slightly quieter, maybe slightly smarter of the two. I don't know. Just Raj, he's cool, but he's just not like he's just not my favorite, right? He's just not my favorite. And Wayne is the winner of the second season, and I don't know how I feel about that. Because on the one hand, they're sort of going for he's just a likable guy, but on the other hand, god damn, is Wayne. Wayne is dumb. Like even in the finale, Wayne is like it's kind of crazy. Like and genuinely, I think Wayne and Raj are dumber in the second season than in the first. And I don't mind dumb characters winning necessarily. I mean, I would love if Lindsay won action, but that's what it is. But I doesn't for some reason with Wayne, I don't dislike him being a winner. Just for the record, I especially like the episode before where he helps the intern out. That was actually kind of a sweet moment. And Wayne Wayne does do some stuff in the season in season two. I'm sort of more talking about that tries to. I can sort of see where they're going with. I just remembered another moment where Wayne sort of defends Priya from Caleb. That's pretty cool too, actually. But then you got episodes where like Wayne is just away from the challenge the whole episode. He's just off floating away from the island. It's like, what did he do there? Not much. Um, uh, I think I like Wayne slightly more than Raj. I kind of like the Julia angle a little bit with Wayne. I don't know that Julia Wayne thing is a little interesting. Maybe that's why Wayne gets the edge. And yeah, speaking of Julia, big mean, big bad. Uh, so when we first see Julia, she just looks like your typical like Instagram influencer. You know, Julia, she's fine at first, and then we slowly start to unpack the pieces, and we see that Julia is actually a very mean person. And then Julia all of a sudden goes on a bit of a rampage, and Julia is angry. Um, and then Julia survives a bullshit elimination in the first season against MK. I, I don't like that elimination. I will say that's a trend with Julia. I don't like. I just don't. I guess the problem is I just don't believe Julia can survive. All the eliminations she does survive, and I don't think I don't believe the way she gets rid of a lot of contestants in season two. Um, However, Heather from Total Drama Island is also sort of like that. So I mean, I do like Julia, but it's sort of like if imagine if Heather never got imagine if Total Drama Action World Tour didn't exist and you just had Heather and Island. It'd be alright. Mean Girl creates some drama for sure. In fact, Julie probably creates more drama, and even has that genuine friendship with MK, which is very cool. I mean, I would not be surprised if there is a third season that they just start dating. I think they probably should do that in the third season, just because that would be something different for both of Julia and MK to do. But getting a little off track, um, Julia, she creates the drama, but you know, there's no redemption like with Heather. There's no everyone sort of, making fun of her or anything, or like, there's not really much of that going on at all. And so I think it kind of feels like Julie gets away with too much. And so that's annoying to me, I be honest. But I do like what she adds drama wise, more so in the first season. But in the second season, she does do some cool stuff as well. I don't necessarily buy all the eliminations, but I mean, I think I definitely see what they're going for. And I think it kind of works. But I mean, I like Julia. Yeah. I mean, I don't love Julia. In fact, it seems like I just like most of the characters. MK, it's MK. She's not a ton to actually say about MK. I mean, I like MK in the first season. I do like her more in the second. When MK and Julia working together is definitely that's when both characters are at their best, when they're with each other working together in the second season. I'm not gonna lie, that is actually a lot of fun. MK overall is uh right there, I think. Yeah, that feels about right. Uh, and then finally we've got Nichelle, the sort of Hollywood star. First season, yeah, turns out she's very bad. She doesn't actually do her own stunts. Wow. And then she cries a bunch, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of, I don't like it. And then the second season they make her a OP. And then Nichelle takes a dumb bullet and just quits. Ugh. I I don't like Nichelle. I'll be honest, I don't like Nichelle. That they could do something interesting with Nichelle. And if there is ever a third season, this is who I want the villain to be. I want Nichelle to be the villain. I think she's capable of it. She's got the strength in terms of the challenges. She just needs the strategy. And if Nichelle is willing to learn some strategy, I think she could be a beast. It also would make me like her more. But yeah, there we go. That's where I stand with the Total Drama reboot cast. I like most of them. A few I love, and a few I'm like a little iffy on. But honestly, it's a solid cast overall. And yeah, if you've gone through all these videos, thank you very much, first of all. And secondly, I gotta be honest, I don't think I put a single person in the hate or the worst, because no character's like so unbelievably bad that I hate them. I just don't hate anyone. Like at worst, it's just like it kind of suck a little bit, but it's like the ones that do suck tend to go pretty quickly as well. So it's not like that. Even if they do suck, they're not there for long. And so I mean, yeah, there's just no one I just don't have I just don't have that passion to really hate a character. But I mean, I do like a decent amount of characters, which I mean, that's probably better than not. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this series of me ranking all the Total Drama characters. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.